And first of all, let's talk about value, which we covered in the first webcast with Matthias and Robert. And you talk about value in the chapter in terms of efficiency, effectiveness, and experience. Where have you seen the biggest value coming from adopting what we called the GBS construct in that first chapter? Start with you, Tony.
That's a fascinating question, and one that Tim and Ajay, as you know, we put in a lot of thought as part of chapter 2. So just to back up a little bit, chapter 2 is all about operations. It's about delivering operations. And in most GBS organizations that are still kind of focused on delivering cost reductions rather than higher levels of value, which is innovation and transformation of the company itself. This is essentially the factory, if you will, right? This is the offshore center or the BPO vendor that is actually doing transactions day in, day out, and at great efficiency, at reduced cost, and so on and so forth. So this is a really important chapter because this is the origin of most GBS organizations. This is where GBS starts. Now, the 3 metrics of value, they're really important because I think most people tend to think of GBS really either in terms of cost reduction, which is efficiency, or then delivering SLAs, which is the ability to translate into business outcomes. But as you kind of go up the value chain in GBS, as you then become the transformation engine of the entire enterprise, what you start to see is that we have to think of these metrics holistically, even in operations. So operations cannot just be, I'm going to mandate these ways of working at any cost. You have got to balance that with experience. Are you creating something that is pulling people towards you rather than shoving things down your throat? And so this was the insight that we've tried to capture in the chapter, which is to say, if you run GBS as if it was an open market business where you actually had to compete with other competitors for the business inside the company, how would you think in terms of your delivery, right? Is it just lower cost? Is it just cheap labor? Is it just efficiency? Or also attracting people towards your product? And that's really the key there.
Oh, that's a great concept. And I should actually say that my current job title is head of business transformation and customer experience. And the CX is for internal customers. And so it's something we're putting that thing right at the top of our ambition, because it is very much coming from that mindset of attracting and pulling in, behaving as if there were a choice. And in fact, in many cases, there is a choice. And so you're trying to bring people to the best thing you can possibly be. Ajay, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'll add a couple of thoughts, Tim, to what Tony has already shared. So completely agree with him. What we are finding is when we are describing value, it's across all 3 of those dimensions of efficiency, effectiveness, and experience. The 2 thoughts that I'll add is one, at least we have found there to be layers, right? So you need to kind of start with what is foundational and then go from there. And there's a life cycle aspect of it also. So what we have found is the biggest and fastest value from adopting GBS construct typically initially comes from process streamlining that you're able to do through standardization, harmonization, process reengineering, where you're removing the variability and the inefficiencies. You're then using that as a way to enable scale. And that's where you drive immediate value and create cycle time improvements by using that as the foundational layer. Once you have that in place, that then allows you to look at what might be the end-to-end process opportunities. Can you apply capabilities like automation, AI, data, and analytics to deliver the next big wave of value creation, which is where you start getting into effectiveness? Are you helping faster and better decisions? Are you creating actionable insights? Are you improving the accuracy of forecasting? And I look at it as you become using this as a multiplier on the value that you've created. And then finally, that then allows you, to Tony's point, to kind of get into a bit of a pull model, be more experience-led, ahead where you're thinking about things like UX and CX and how can you increase adoption and sustain the value creation and try to drive more stakeholder stickiness and alignment and use that also as a way to create value. So at least I've seen a bit of a life cycle and also a layering, if you will, in how you go through that maturity process.
Yeah.